Hi and welcome to the next tutorial. Today we'll be looking at how to create this very simple clock in Adobe Illustrator, and we'll be animating it in Adobe After Effects. So let's get started. The first thing that we need to do is we just need to set up a new document, and I'm just going to make sure that it's 1920 by 1080 pixels. We're just going to go to create. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to put the background on there. So I already got my background ready to go. So all I'm going to do is just copy and paste it. But if you wanted to draw your own background, then just draw a rectangle using the rectangle tool and then fill it in with any color. So I'm just going to lock that layer so that the background does not move. I then am going to start to draw my clock. So I'm going to grab the ellipse tool, okay, and I'm going to find the center, and I'm just going to hold Alt and Shift, and I'm going to draw out a circle. Okay, so once I've drawn out the circle, then I can go into my properties of that circle. I don't want any fill. Actually, I'm going to change it to white. And the stroke, it can stay at black, but I'm just going to make the stroke maybe size 20. Okay. So now once I have that, I'm just going to put another circle, hold Alt again, just in the middle, just so I can see the center point later on. So now I've got that, I'm going to put a bit of a gray tinge to this circle as well. So I'm going to draw another circle. Alright, so I'm going to find the center point, just make sure that that's on a new layer, and when you make it bigger, just make it go to the outside of that. Now I'm going to put that underneath, but I'm also going to make sure that I change the fill to nothing and change the stroke color to like a light gray. Okay, so I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger, and so when I put my other circle back on, it just gives it that little bit of extra. Now you can do this on the inside, on the outside, doesn't really matter which way you do it, it's just a visual effect. So then the next thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be doing all those things that go around the clock. So that's pretty easy to do. All we need to do is we need to grab the pen tool, alright, make sure that we are in the center, okay, and then just draw a straight line down. Now I don't want it to be gray, so I'm going to have to go to my properties, change it to black, and I'm just going to make the stroke fairly thin. So maybe a stroke of, I don't know, 8. Now you can make this longer if you like, doesn't really matter about the size. Just make sure that it's pretty thin, and then we're going to duplicate it all the way around. So to duplicate it all the way around, it's quite simple. All you need to do is make sure that you've selected you know, this thing. I'm just going to put some, make it round. And then you have to click on this tool over here, the rotate tool. You have to find the center point, press Alt, and then this dialog box pops up. The angle that we're going to use is 6 degrees. And I'm just going to press copy. And now that's copied it for me. But I'm just not happy with the stroke, so I'm just going to bring the stroke down to maybe about 5. And then once you've done that, all you have to do is just press Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate that. And that will go around nicely. So once you're happy with that, I am just going to make 4 pieces of that clock just a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to make sure that they're, you know, straight, they don't have a curved cap, and then you can play around with the settings with that. Alright, so I've just made them stand out just a touch more. So the final thing that we need to do is we need to worry about our hands. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that because I'm going to put it on a new layer. Alright, so make sure that the hands are on the new layer because otherwise the animation won't work in After Effects. So make sure you're on the new layer. We're going to grab the ellipse tool. We're going to find our center point. Okay, again, Alt and Shift to draw that circle that we just had. Okay, now I'm just going to change the fill to, I don't know, let's just go with a reddish color. You can change the color later if you like, it doesn't really matter. And so finally, and make sure you're on that same layer, or if you create a new layer, we'll group it all together later. Find the center point and just draw a line up for the first hand. Okay, and a line over for the next hand. Okay, so now I've got those two hands. I'm just going to go into my properties and just make sure that I make it a little bit bigger. If you wanted to put the round caps, you can, but just be careful with the round caps because then you'll have to make this stroke bigger as well. Okay, so I might as well make it all even anyways. Okay, so there we go. So now we really have to worry about our layers. Okay, so if I have a look at this layer, that's all of my hands. Alright, and so they have to be on a separate layer to everything else, otherwise this animation won't work in After Effects. So anyways, once you're happy with your clock design, then we can take it to After Effects. So all you need to do is save this as an Adobe Illustrator file and we will import it into After Effects. So once in After Effects, all I did is I right clicked here and I went to import, I found my file, and then it gives you this box. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are importing the composition and we keep the footage dimension to the layer size. So once I've done that, I've got all of my stuff over here. I can drag it to my timeline and I can see my clock is in there nicely. I need to double click in here and I need to find the hands layer. So to rename that, all I did is I pressed enter and now I can work on that layer. Alright, so all we are going to do to animate this is we need to firstly move the anchor point to the middle of the circle. So we do that by grabbing the pan behind tool. Okay, and you can zoom in to make sure you get it right in the middle. Okay, because if you get this off, then the whole animation, it won't rotate nicely. So once you've done that, then you press R on your keyboard to bring up the rotation, and we are going to put an expression in. So if I hold Alt, click on the stopwatch, and if I write the expression time times 100, okay, I can see that animation working. Now you can experiment with this, you can, make it go faster. Obviously the bigger the number, the faster that it will spin. And anyways guys, that's it. That's a very simple tutorial on how to create very simple animation using Illustrator and After Effects. I hope you guys enjoyed and I will see you next time.